Welcome back, Leggari Nation. On today's video, we are showing you how you can turn your existing surface and make it look like real white marble. Tylor used our pigmented epoxy along with black and white Leggari Effects to get this look. You can find links to the products in the description below.
All right guys, so for this board, we're gonna be using our pigmented white, and then we're gonna add our black Leggari Effects to tint it a very light gray color. We're gonna apply this over the whole board for our base coat, and then I'm gonna use our white effects and do a wood grain pattern in it with my hands. Very simple process, and you guys can create these looks on any surface in your home, business, or wherever you're trying to coat. So we'll get right into it. I got everything I'm gonna need right here. We're gonna mix it up in a 2.5 quart container. This is 16 square feet, and I need about 3.5 to 4 ounces of epoxy per square foot. So 16 times 4, 64 ounces. So I'm gonna make up 64 ounces of pigmented white, and then I'm gonna show you how to tint it with our Leggari Effects to create a light gray color. So the board's been leveled. We routed the edges. You never want to coat over a square edge. Make sure you got a little round to it. That way the material can flow over. Now granted, these are just sample boards that we're showing you guys, but you really want to make sure you guys are filling seams, rounding your corners when you're doing countertops. And the other thing is you want to make sure you're using our primers. Our primers are made to chemically bond to smooth surfaces. And we'll show you a video real quick of how amazing it bonds to unsanded formica. So I'm gonna fill up 64 ounces, and these 2.5 quart containers are great. They have the 2-to-1 marks, so I can fill my part A up to the 4, which is 2 parts, and then over the 1 part, I can go to the next 4 mark with my part B, and then that's gonna make 64 ounces exactly. So a real fast way to do it. You can obviously get there different ways by using different containers, but these work really, really well. So I'm gonna take my part A, fill it up to that first number 4 line. We want to be as exact as we can be, so I like to slow down once I get close. The resin is a little cold, so it'll take a second to level out. Now we're gonna go to the 1. So we got the 2 parts as A, the 1 part is a B. We're gonna go to the next number 4 in that. And again, slow it down if your resin's thicker. If it's colder, Let it level out. Scrape our sides. Scrape the bottom. And we'll mix for another 1.5 to 2 minutes. All right, so now we're gonna add the black effects to tint this a really light gray color. You wanna shake your effects up first. It's very important to start out with less, check it, because if you add too much, you can't really take that color and make it lighter again. And I have a white sheet of paper here to kind of see how darker it gets. Go a little bit more. So you can kind of see the difference. It's really light compared to that white that we started with. Get some on the edge there. It's really bright white here, and then that's after adding the pigment. So you can see the difference. We have our original pigment of white, and then we have the really light gray color after adding the black effects. It's tough to tell. This still looks white in here, but it is a really light gray, and so you always want to check it against something. All right, so we got it the color we want. I'm gonna pour a bead down the middle, cross roll it out. We're gonna basically do a base coat, cover the whole board in this light gray color, and then we'll add the white effects to it. Just soaking this roller up, that way it doesn't get sticky. Pull a bunch of hairs off it. I have de-shedded this also. All right, so we got the top rolled out nice and even. So once I get the top done, I can hit my edges and get those edges coated. And I always like to roll a little bit on the edge, get some more product on my roller, hit the edge, and just kind of repeat that. That way I get a good amount on my edges. All right, so a Leggari tip for you is to let your base coat level out. That way the resin can move where it's gonna move before you add your design into it. So if you've ever done a board where you did your design or pattern, maybe you did a straight pattern on it, and then you came back 15, 20 minutes later, and you kind of had some spots that were kind of squiggly and kind of got messed up, it's because the resin was a little thick there maybe, and it had to level out, and it pulled that design as it leveled. So what I like to do my base coat, let it sit for like 10, 15 minutes, and then I'll apply my design or my effects or whatever I'm doing. That way it gives this resin time to completely level out and get flat. That way it doesn't move as much when you're doing your design in it. All right, so the board's been sitting for about 10, 15 minutes, so it's leveled out. It's not gonna move as much now. Just remember, if you guys are doing like kitchen counters, larger projects, you probably don't want it to sit that long, even if at all, because it's gonna take you a lot longer to roll that base coat out. So all that other stuff's gonna be leveling out. But when you're doing smaller projects like this, sample boards, you coat them so fast that it's not the same as if you're doing a countertop. So that stuff still got to level out on these smaller projects. So that's why we let this sit for a minute. So now we're going to add our white effects. Make sure you guys shake these up good. And also, we don't want to over blend this. The more you blend it, the less you're going to see the color. So we want to blend it as minimal as we can. I'm just going to go straight up and down. And then when I blend it, I'm going to try to keep my hands nice and straight. I'll kind of randomly miss some spots. Maybe do a couple thicker spots. Just kind of randomly all throughout this board. Another thing, if you guys are doing the silvers, the golds, they dry a lot faster. So you want to blend that kind of as you go. You don't want to do the whole board like this. The white, the brown, they'll kind of sit there a little bit longer. You'll have more time before it kind of gets a crust on it. So we'll start with that. If I want to add more, I can. We're just going to take our hands and just not applying a lot of pressure, just slightly blend this in. Again, I'm trying to keep a straight line. Even if my effects lines aren't straight, I'll still try to keep my hands straight. All right, so I want to add a little bit more just in some of these bare spots. We've already used one of these. We got a little bit left in here. And this is 18 square feet. Just kind of go around and hit some of these open spots. And then we're just going to blend those in. We don't have to hit the whole board. Again, just those spots we added it. Biggest thing is trying to keep your hands straight. And then I like to come around the side if you can and just look down, and you'll see any spots that might be a little crooked. Kind of straighten those out. And then what I like to do is come back and fine tune some of these blotches areas are kind of spread out wide. And just kind of feather those out a little bit more. Like right here, just kind of ends. Just kind of run that out a little bit more. All right guys, so once you have the design how you want, any spots that you wanted to mess with those, and then what I'll do is I'll spray half this board with the isopropyl alcohol, and it'll create a different look than just leaving it like that. So I'll spray this half with the isopropyl, we'll leave this half, and then we'll show you the difference. So we're looking for kind of small, medium droplets, just barely pulling that trigger. So you can see what it does, it kind of just sells out those effects versus the side that we didn't spray, didn't sell out at all. And so the last thing we do is we let this evaporate, and then we just mist the whole surface with denatured alcohol. Now that denatured alcohol is not gonna do the cells like the isopropyl did, because we're just misting it, so it won't affect this look and it won't affect this look, but we just want to let that isopropyl evaporate for 5-10 minutes and then mist it with denatured alcohol. So if you guys are looking for products to do for your project, go to leggari.com, click single items, and you'll be able to find all the products I used here. We did white pigmented epoxy, we did Leggari Effects in black and white, and then we also used our white WB primer in a countertop kit size. And then if you guys are contractors, make sure you guys are signing up on our site to receive your contractor pricing on some of the best products in the world. All right, so now I'm gonna mist the surface with denatured alcohol. And like I said before, you wanna let that isopropyl evaporate and then spray the denatured, and it's not gonna mess up your designs or your cells. So again, guys, just mist it, spray the whole surface quick. And that's it. So we'll let this sit, set up, and we'll show you when it's hard.